This is a very sentimental video for me in terms of the fact that this is probably going to be, well, it definitely will be, the final video that I upload on Bucchigiri Match, at least in the live, in terms of like live video I can actually access the game with. I'm saying that because I think down the line I'll wind up doing like a best summons type of montage type of video whenever I start feeling nostalgic or whatever, you know. But this is the final video that we're going to do for Bucchigiri Match otherwise. So if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that thumbs up, as well as that subscribe if you're new, for more content on the other games, of course, that we're going to be doing on the channel. I do plan to share this video with Bandai. Maybe we get some sort of re-release. Odds are it won't happen. But I do plan to share the video and let them know, hey, there was a dedicated fan base for this game. So definitely leave your comments, things that you would have liked to have seen in the game. And please don't everybody just say, oh, I should have been an app, because that's obvious. We all know that. I'll talk about that in a moment, kind of what this is. But yeah, in all seriousness, if you played the game, things you would have improved upon, stuff like that, genuine criticism, as well as leaving a thumbs up. And I'm definitely going to try to submit this video and just let them take a look at it, right? Maybe they plan on producing something like this in the future. Fun fact, I told them people would enjoy an application release of this game. It didn't, I'm pretty sure it didn't actually make its way to the actual devs for the game, but I don't know. I'll see what I can do this time around. Anyways, that being said, I'm going to start the video by talking about what Bucchigiri Match is/was, because by the time you guys are seeing this, it should be down by now. The game should be out and completely down. So we're going to start by talking about what that is, what the game is. Also, from there, we're going to transition to talking about some of my thoughts in the game, how I think they could have improved it. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about the account that I had and stuff like that and how this works out and go from there. So the first thing I want to mention is it's a browser-based game. As you see, I'm on my phone. You can play it from browser on computer or phone, which is actually, honestly, I like that accessibility. I just installed it on my phone's home screen, and it works. Like, you can literally just install it on your phone's home screen and, you know, play through whatever little app shortcut that you've got, right? And it works perfectly fine. That's it. So it's good to go, right? You can also, again, play on your computer if you want to, and I like that accessibility, being able to bounce between devices, right, without having to literally transfer the account between places. Now, what I will say is the game came out before Dragon Ball Legends, and it would be approaching its 2-year anniversary sometime really soon, like in the next couple of months, in fact. It basically was announced that this game was going to be closing during its 1.5-year anniversary a few months ago, basically. So that's kind of the timeline for where this game is. Again, came just right before Legends, pretty much. So the funny thing about it is, again, it's a browser game, but it does not have an application release. Now, the thing about that was, I have a feeling that this game didn't wind up getting an application released because at the time it came out, 3 games were slated to come out, and they were all Dragon Ball games. Only one of them actually got a global release and an application release at the same time. So Bucchigiri Match Cross Keepers, which is a game that closed a while ago, that was browser only in terms of literally having to have like a Japanese Yahoo account. You could not play on your phone. It was a completely different game. X Keeper, Cross Keeper. That was an entirely different thing. Closed a long time ago. And it was just horribly managed. This game and Legends. Now, Legends was the only one that got, again, a global release. Would that have helped this game? No shit, right? It would have helped. It would have been good. It would have been great for this game. It would have enjoyed having a global release. Would the game have benefited from having an application? Again, obviously, it would have benefited from having an application. Even though you can play on your phone, there are some people that just would have rather it have been on an application. The main reason why I would want it to have been an application would have been the exposure it could have potentially got via the App Store and Play Store, respectively. That would have been huge for the game overall, right? That would have been incredibly big for the game. And also having a global release would have led to more players. Now, would that have avoided this fate? In the market, we currently have Dokkan and we have Legends. Now, between the two, Dokkan is kind of like a card game, very simplistic gameplay. Legends is more of the opposite in terms of not really being a card game per se, being more of a actual kind of quote-unquote fighting game, obviously with being a gacha mobile type of style fighting game or whatever. This is actually more of a true fighting game, right? Let's take a look at some of what this game has access to. This is more of a true, again, did I say fighting game? More of a true card game, excuse me. So, this is a game where it's turn-based, card game, and you basically play out. You guys can watch some videos. I've uploaded a lot of gameplay and stuff like that, some different fun decks and stuff like that. You basically build your deck. It's not really like a team aspect. They all have effects, and they all do things, have different synergies. They have traits they have, and it's similar in that aspect in terms of building a quote-unquote team to the other games, but again, I want to stress that this is more of like a card game, right? So the cards do different things, they function differently. You have different cards that function alongside other cards, and it's just an effect-based game with cool animations, right? So when you really think about the market, right, this would have been sliding more in that in-between area of like kind of the game style. And long story short, I'm pretty sure the reason it didn't get a release is because when it comes to Dragon Ball and the Western audience, they're just not sure what we're a fan of. I'm going to keep it 100% honest with you. And this also extends to the management of Dokkan and Legends. They're not sure what we, as a player base, are a fan of. And I'm pretty positive if they had, Crosskeeper, Legends, Bucchigiri, Legends was the most appealing game for our audience from their perspective, which is why it became the game that they decided to capitalize on. This game being a browser game is irrelevant. The reason why is because Enza actually puts out a lot of browser games, and there are a lot of browser games that are pretty successful, but Enza, most recently, though, is putting out Ninja Tribes, the new Naruto game. It should be getting its application release any day now, right? The Crunchyroll version, quote-unquote, is through Enza's server. It's on Enza.fun. It's all Enza stuff, and it's Bandai affiliate. It means that Bandai could have done the exact same thing for this game. Gave it a global release, gave it an application release alongside the browser release, so you could play it all simultaneously, but they chose not to. But it also shows that they've learned from their mistake. I think the biggest, because Naruto also has several games in circulation. They've got Ninja Voltage, they've got Blazing still hanging around. They've got some other stuff that's kind of like less known, but they have some stuff in circulation. So it's almost the same idea, right? But more or less Shueisha, I don't really know if Shueisha is in tune with Naruto. I don't know if they work with Naruto or whatever as an IP. But Shueisha is super protective of all things Dragon Ball from all their marketing, everything they put out, and that's kind of what hindered this game, long story short. So, again, it could have been impacted differently. It could have been more successful in my eyes. It could have been better off in my eyes if it had an application and a global release. We all know this, but unfortunately didn't get that, right? And that's just kind of the downside of it. And we had some great people in the Reddit but also the Discord that were working on translating the cards, and a great fan base for this game, and a lot of people I introduced and people that introduced me to the game, and just fun stuff like that, man. So other than that, also huge shout out to Goresh for translating. He literally translated every single card in this game for me, and also the community as a result. Like, there's probably hundreds of cards, and he translated all of them, man. Goresh is the real MVP. Like, that guy, I have so much respect for him. So huge shout out to him. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of kind of what we have here. I don't want this video to be an hour long, but just show you guys some of what I have in my account. It takes a little bit to load. That's another issue with it being a browser game. Sometimes, I guess because of the Japanese server, because Ninja Tribe doesn't do this, but I guess because we're trying to connect via Japan, it just doesn't work great. Anyways, though, here's Gogeta, right? This game, funnily enough, was the first Dragon Ball game to get Gogeta, Dragon Ball Super Gogeta. It got it before Dokkan, got it, well, before Legends, because they don't even have it. But they got multiple Gogetas. They got this one, they got a base form one, they got Super Saiyan, I think they got another one in there. Yeah, they did. So this game also kind of, I'll get to that in a minute, but they also had fusing cards. And they also have a sleeveless Future Gohan, and all these things people think you can't do in these games, this game had, because they found loopholes for a lot of that stuff, right? So here's one of my favorite cards here. This Gohan, he was super good. I was super excited about him. And just want to show you guys some of these animations, because these cards do have some really clean animations. I believe I might be able to. I'm not really going to try super hard to show some of the battle animations. I think there's a separate way to do that. But really, for me, I started playing the game about 9 months ago, about a year ago, something like that. Played a lot religiously. Also got to a point where I kind of just fell out of it because I started playing too many gachas, right? And then came back, and most recently came back. They started putting out some really good step-up banners and releasing this guy on those step-up banners. And right about that time is when they, just after that, decided that we're going to close the game and all that stuff. So for me personally, I had some really good experiences summing for some of these cards, and also some really trash experiences, like getting shafted heavily. You can go back and watch some of my summon videos. It got to a point where I stopped even wanting to do videos because sometimes I would just get so shafted So shafted. So shafted, right? Because this game didn't have as good rates as the other ones. Like, that's another thing, too. It only had, like, 3% rates and stuff like that. This is not a fusing card, per se, but it's a fun little card that this game has that, you know, other games haven't done, right? Legends has yet to do, like, a duo type of card. I bet they'll probably do one eventually, but, you know, Dokkan has duo types of cards, and Legends has yet to do one. But regardless, though, this game also was cool because it made characters good. Like, there's a good Krillin here. There's numerous good Gohans. There was a good Oob here. He's super meta. There's more and more really good cards. So here's one of the fusing cards, by the way. So the way that the game, the law works for, oh, you can't have two cards that fuse into one. That's not exactly true. If one of those cards is basically free, or there's a free alternative to one of the cards you need, you're fine. They just can't say, oh, hey, summon this Goku, and also summon his Vegeta counterpart, and then use only those two cards to work, right? So the way it worked was Vegeta was summonable, Goku was technically free, right? That's not the only example either. There's Goten and Trunks examples too, where you play one and then it fuses with a pre-existing card. This Goten, though, this is a different example of the loophole. Goten was able to fuse with any Kid Trunks card. You only needed to summon one, and you're good to go. Same goes for Trunks, but they were both summonable cards. That's the difference here. Goten and Trunks were both on the banner together. They would obviously work best if you summoned both and used both together. But Goten could work with any Kid Trunks, and Kid Trunks could use with any Goten card. And they would fuse, and you'd be good to go into Gotenks, right? So this is kind of one of the ideas that this game had, and other games can successfully implement this because they're not requiring you to actually do complete gacha where you have to summon and only summon specifically using premium in-game currency for the exact units you would need to complete a unit. That's basically the law. They cannot force you to have to summon for units only, right? There has to be a free alternative, or there has to be ways to get this stuff and not only use the actual premium currency, for example. This was a base Vegito, by the way, if you couldn't tell by the Potara earring, right? So here's an example of him, and the Goten and Trunks, I believe, was the first fusion card in the game, and I remember tweeting like, man, this is huge, like, this is crazy, and then that's when I really got clarification on how all this really works, because I, like a lot of you guys, probably was like, I was thinking like, oh, no, they can't do this and that, yada, yada, but that's not really how it works, right? Golden Frieza is one of the more recent cards that came out before they just basically stopped allowing purchase, and the game, they stopped allowing purchase a while ago, despite putting out a good banner, but they started giving a crap ton of free-to-play currency, right? So you guys could still, kind of like as a thank you banner, summon for basically anything, 25% summon rates, and, you know, you're good to go from there. So, like, look at this. This Gohan, I enjoyed him, too. He fit on a lot of different teams I was running, and there was just some really cool stuff here. And, like, running, like, Gohan-themed teams and things like that was just huge for me. Like, I really appreciated this game for the novelty it had. Again, it was also kind of weird because they also had another they still have another card game going on, the Dragon Ball Super card game. So it just kind of felt, this game existed in a weird space. It's like, it's not Dokkan-esque, it's also not Legends-esque, and it's not exactly in the middle between them. Legends is technically a card game, but the swiping makes it more of a fighting game, right? Because you don't actually do, you do tap punches, but you don't literally fight with a controller, right? It's more you choose the action card and the character does it on their own, but the swiping is what you need to really master, the instincts of the swiping, basically. But this is, again, I can't stress enough, like literally like a Yu-Gi-Oh game type of deal, right? Not more like a Dokkan type, where Dokkan's more or less unit passives and leader skills and team comp, and then choosing which orbs you're going to choose. It's different, right? So we had this Kaioken Goku. When he came out, he was nuts, man. He could raise his battle power. I think I did a video for him. It might have been one of the last PvP videos I did. Search it up on YouTube. Dragon Ball Z Bucchigiri match Kaioken deck or something like that. He could raise his battle power tremendously, man. One thing that I didn't really like about this game towards the end there, after that Kaioken came out and a little bit before he did, is they started implementing limit breaks. I think that was this game's last kind of attempt to try to produce more money. Because the reason why it's shutting down, I should have said this earlier, the reason it's shutting down is obvious. It didn't make enough money. A lot of you guys probably never even heard of the game. It's really obvious if that's the case. And they hindered this game's development anyway because they didn't allow for it to be as widespread as you would want it to be. So that's also a two-folded issue, right? But the game just didn't produce enough revenue. So since that's the case, they are basically shutting it down. This is why I tell people that Legends, particularly, is in a really weird spot right now. I don't think the game's shutting down anytime soon. But let me be honest. The game is making every single possible decision they can to try to produce more revenue. And generally, games do that when they're not meeting the quota. And the problem is the Dragon Ball IP carries a very heavy price tag, right? Shueisha expects to make X amount of money from it. And it doesn't help when the direct competition on the market, Dokkan in this instance, still makes a crap ton more money than the newer game does. It's not even comparable how much money Dokkan makes between that and Legends. It's not even close. They eclipse Legends heavily, right? This is why Legends keeps making the decision to produce more stuff like Zenkai or not giving as much free currency and stuff like that because they have to, because they're just simply not hitting the numbers that they're supposed to hit, right? And this is why the whole, oh, let's stop spending to show them that we're serious and to prove a point thing will not work because we've already been doing that. Their revenue is down a lot. They've hit first place in major markets one time and only during the anniversary. Dokkan hits it every other banner basically at this point. It's been a little worse lately for Dokkan admittedly, but up until about a little bit before the 5-year anniversary recently, they were doing it every other banner basically, or every banner literally, right? And then you have FGO, who's at the top of the market, so that also holds Dokkan back sometimes. Sometimes Dokkan just hits second, and that's it, right? Because FGO is just nuts. But since that's the case, right, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So they make all these decisions, and the whole, oh, let's stop spending to make a point isn't going to work. Not here, because we've already been doing that, technically, right? People are mad at quote-unquote whales for spending money on this or that banner, or like Zenkaiing units. They know people don't like it, but it's not going away. Why? Because even if it produces just 1% more revenue, it was a success. Obviously, their number's probably higher than that. But if it produces anything, it's a success because they're not making anything, right? They've already shown that their response to, oh, let's stop spending, is to basically try to force it, right? So unfortunately, this game, their limit breaking was an attempt at that, but they never got anywhere near as close to being quote-unquote scummy as Legends is at this point. And Legends is going to be fine because it's a global launch anyway. So, and it's a Dragon Ball game that's making enough money. Even if they're not happy with the sales, it's just breaking even basically. They're making enough money. So here's an example of a one-armed Future Gohan. The only other game I know of that's kind of mainstream was Dragon Ball Z Sagas that has this. I don't know if this is because it's a browser game and it's not on mobile, but it doesn't appear to the whole, oh, you can't show dismemberment doesn't appear to be the case, man. I just think it's sometimes with global releases, probably they try to censor it, even if they don't necessarily need to, so they don't have to change the rating of the game, but they're allowed. That's one of the many. They're allowed to do it. I think that they just avoid it purposely by making the character's arm go limp or something like that in order to not have to deal with the censorship issues or rating issues of the game or whatever. So, yeah, this game had a one-arm Gohan, had fusing cards, and kind of easily debunks some of the theories. Oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. And I really appreciated this game, in all seriousness, for kind of what it did. And we're kind of closing in on our wrap here. I never got to the tippy-top PvP rank. The problem was you had to collect the Dragon Balls, and nobody told me this on my climb. And basically it was, oh, use this and that themed colored deck until you... Ooh, this is one of the newer cards. I just got them. Until you get to a certain level, basically. Nobody ever told me that. If I had known, I would have been doing that all along on my climb. I had no idea, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, they dropped a Krillin, by the way. Krillin had his own banner alongside Kid Gohan, which was the AR5. I don't know if I showed him. You probably saw him in my box. So that was great. I had a lot of fun with Krillin, too. So, yeah, man. I don't know. I appreciated this game. It was a lot of fun. So we had... This was our only... It's funny we only got one Dragon Ball Z Gogeta, but we got a lot of... Super Gogetas, obviously because they were trying to capitalize on the hype. And it was interesting because this game got very premium marketing in Japan at this instance. They got basically the first go-ahead for Dragon Ball Super Broly content, other than X-Keepers, I think. X-Keepers might have been the literal first, but this was the first one really to get access to it. And then on top of that, they even got some shout-outs in the Dokkan 300 million celebration stream, I believe, towards the end there. To check out Bucchigiri match. I think that's when they finally were like, after the 300 million, which was in August, so it's been a while. I think after 300 million, see, like, you can see the signs, man. Have a Bye Guys Goku, speaking of 300 million. you can see the signs, man. Like, I think at that point when they shouted out Bucchigiri match, it was their 1-year anniversary or something like that, and they were like, oh yeah, check out Bucchigiri match, it's the 1-year anniversary, this and that. I think that might have been their last actual push for the game to try to really just, you know, make it pop, but they couldn't. And then they said, screw it, we're done. Oh, hey, it's Super Saiyan Hercule. Yeah, this game had a lot of wonky stuff like this, or wacky stuff, I should say. I didn't ever see the Boo, like the skinny Boo, like, you know, where he's got the face and he's trying to talk to the girl. I don't know if I got that card or not. It's in the game. I just don't know if I got the card. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and wrap everyone. I don't know, man. Don't know what to say. This was Bucchigiri match, man. This is something. Definitely something. So, anyways. Oh, here. Well, I'm going to show you guys 2 more cards. Here's one of the fusing cards. This is one of the newer ones. I actually never got the Vegeta counterpart. But he fuses to Gogeta, obviously. If it loads up. And we have a Gogeta, base Gogeta, I believe. Yep. Fuses with a Vegeta card. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll catch all of you in the next one.